Joining us now, Wisconsin Congressman Tony Wied. Representative, thank you for being with us this morning. I want to first ask you about the situation in Ukraine, and we've got some new reporting now and some comments from President Zelensky of Ukraine. Just a moment ago, he said of the meeting on Friday in the Oval Office, it did not go the way it was supposed to be, and he calls it regrettable, but also says his team is ready to stand and work under President Trump's strong leadership to get a peace that lasts. Is pausing funding for Ukraine going to damage these diplomatic talks in your mind? And what's your assessment of what has happened over the last 4 days?
Well, I think the American people, and I certainly believe in President Trump's leadership. And right now, that's what we need to provide safety and security around this world. And President Trump, with his dealings and his negotiations with Vladimir Zelensky and with the situation there, it's working. We need to come to a peaceful resolution with this conflict. We cannot afford to send hundreds of billions of dollars over there for something that is not going to, there is no victory. This is something that needs to be dealt with now. We need to find peace in that region, and I believe in President Trump's negotiations right now.
And if that was a negotiating strategy to pause funding, is that something you would support? Many in Congress voted yes to send Ukraine aid in the last 3 years.
Well, we just cannot continue to fund this war. I think we need to, again, find peace. And that is exactly what President Trump is bringing to the table right now. And again, we need to find some resolutions to this conflict and focus on our country. We need to focus on America first and ultimately grow this economy and provide peace and strength throughout the world.
A lot of people are not quite sure about the tariffs. The president had said that there's going to be some short-term pain before long-term relief. How do you assuage your constituents' concerns about the price of eggs and potentially chicken and tomatoes and you name it down the line, or even a big ticket item like a car that may cost them more in the coming months?
Well, ultimately, President Trump was very candid throughout his campaign. There's never been anybody more transparent throughout a campaign. And he talked about smart tariffs and tariffs as a tool to be used to negotiate free and fair trade, to bring more manufacturing jobs and more companies to America, and ultimately to help our economy. And that's what his focus is. That's my focus. And I think it can be a tool that's used, and it's going to be effective here in the long term.
Let's get your thoughts, Congressman, on DOGE and the efforts of Elon Musk and some of the federal firings that we've seen, and it seems as though more are on the horizon. How do you feel about how those layoffs are being handled, despite the fact that it seems as though there is support for finding government waste? It's the how it's being done. What's your take?
Well, ultimately, we have a reckless spending problem in this country. We're spending almost $2 trillion more than we bring in, which really does cause the inflation tax that really hurts the middle class and the poor. And ultimately, we need people like Elon Musk, those that have a lot of experience in handling big budgets, to find efficiencies and savings within our government, because we cannot continue to do what we're doing. You know, I know Speaker Johnson and leadership is working with Elon Musk and talking about how things are being done, but ultimately we need to find those savings and ultimately handle this country and take care of our country first.
How do you feel about the relationship of President Trump and Elon Musk and how much visibility and power he has been able to wield so far?
Well, President Trump's very good at finding talent, and right now we need someone like Elon Musk. Our Congress, quite frankly, hasn't done a very good job, certainly in my lifetime, of overseeing. We've been spending recklessly for many, many years, and President Trump's very good at finding talent. And he's aligned himself, and Elon Musk is finding those savings, rooting out the waste, fraud, and abuse in our agencies. And we need to continue to, put that into law and ultimately get back to a balanced budget in this country.
Speaking of a balanced budget, it feels as though a government shutdown is always looming in every session. What needs to happen for Congress to avoid a shutdown, Congressman, by March 14th and the deadline?
Well, I think the Republican conference here in the House of Representatives is unified. We have great leadership with Speaker Johnson. And, I'm looking forward to continuing to work on the reconciliation process and get to a better budget and ultimately get those tax cuts, permanent and drive the economy in our country. So I'm very, very optimistic about the House right now and certainly in the Republican conference, and good things are ahead.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.